Welcome back. So this week is super exciting. We have the full moon and we also have the summer solstice. Now, the summer solstice is like a really good time for manifesting. For me personally, I like to map out every area of my life. So I'll go career, spiritual, home, health, love, family, finances, and I'll put a goal that I want for the year. I guess like a lot of people do like New Year's resolutions, but for me I like to do it better on the summer solstice because I do feel like the winter time, it's usually the cycle for me is that I experience a lot of death and rebirth throughout the first half of the year, and then the second half is more like I feel like I'm blooming, and things get funner. I love Gemini season. I always think Gemini season is so fun. Leo season is so fun. Then you have Cancer mixed in there. It gets a little emotional, but intuitive. It's fun. I don't know. Summer's fun. I hope you guys feel the same way. So today I want to talk about compassion and understanding. I've been noticing a lot of different types of people in the world. First of all, let's talk about being in the world as an awakened being, okay? So, and also, just because you're awakened doesn't mean that you are like clear of patterning. Because like for a long time, I think that it's actually like a stage of ascension. It's like I'm awakened, and now I think I'm better than everybody because I know the truth of like this reality, but really, yeah, you're awakened, you got shaken to wake up, shake up to wake up, and then you still have your patterning. I think it's more to make you conscious of like, hey, like for me, when I awoke, I was like I just had this really strong feeling in my gut, like there's something else I needed to be doing, and I don't know what I've been doing for my whole entire life because I'm not doing what I'm here to do, so I need to get on it. And then I just didn't even know what it was though. Like you just have this sense of like urgency, like I'm meant to do something, but what is it? So now we have to kind of uncover that by clearing out the rubble. So I always talk about the rubble, your patterning, your programming. You got to clear out the rubble, like making the unconscious conscious. So for me, it was a lot like I had low self-worth. I wanted everyone to like me. I also, in last video, I was talking about how, like, I'm a kind of a bitch sometimes. But I realized that this is another trauma response. And, like, for me, I could feel like I'm being protective of myself. But I think it's just my trauma because of the fact that when I was a child, I was constantly having to fight because I grew up in chaos. And then something happened where my daughter got into like a confrontation at school. But this girl also felt like she was an older kid, and she like approached my daughter from a place of I need to protect my sister type of thing. But my daughter and her were playing soccer, and they got like a little bit into it on the soccer field, and it brought back a lot of memories for me personally because I was that person who was like, oh, you don't fucking fuck with my sister, you don't do this. Like, I was very confrontational. And I feel like I think I had to be because it's the only thing I felt like I could control when I couldn't control anything at home. So now I'm looking at this girl, which my daughter is also like a very kind-hearted person. She's like the most understanding too. So she's like, we're both looking at this situation from a perspective of what's going on with this kid at home, like what is her home life like that she feels like she needs to protect, because like that's sad. Then you grow up to get the control issues, and as I'm saying this, 444 protected by angels. So I think that just says it right there. Like, we're not here to judge people, especially like kids. Okay, let's talk about soul. Let's go back to soul contracts. Soul contracts, you came here to live certain patternings and to, hold on. So you came to live certain patternings. When you're a soul, you sign up for the lessons that you're going to learn. And it's probably to do with your karma from past lives. So you have to work through all of that. Karma is not about like, okay, a lot of people have this idea that karma is like something happened to me in a past life or something I did to somebody else has to happen to me in a past life. It's about working through it. It's about getting over it. It's about de-rubbling it. Okay, so if you have karma with somebody in a past life and it did not end well, the karma, like in this life, it's not come here and now the roles switch. That's not how karma is. So karma is how can we now in this life work together and find compassion and understanding for each other. Have you seen Freaky Friday? That's a perfect freaking example. They work through by learning how to understand each other. So if you feel like you have karma, you can always do cord cutting with people. So what I do is I like to invoke the violet flame so that there's nothing between you and the other person but unconditional love. You do cord cutting meditation. And purify your own patterns by doing inner child work, shadow work, ego work. All of these I did on my own so that by the time that I did go back, re-enter the world after my hermit stage, I was able to see it clearly. I had a lot more to work through. Like I always talk about, I had to work through the fear of being around people. I had to work through now, recently, I like not being misunderstood. The more I realize that I'm embodying unconditional love, the more that people don't understand. Like, they don't understand why I wouldn't press charges against this child that did this thing. But for me, I know why. Like, because Grace, because she's a child and she's unconscious and she came here to learn lessons too. And I mean, like, for me, my daughter's, what she wants matters too. And if she wants forgiveness, then that's beautiful. And I'm going to applaud her for having such a kind heart. But I've also seen other types of people recently. So let's talk about fear. When people are in fear of survival, so they're in survival mode. So they're afraid, so they like to exert control. So they can also be nasty with their words, and it's like fear pushes people into a strange place because, like, we all hear about, like, the energy vampires and, like, people taking your light or whatever. I don't really think that's true. I'm gonna say it. Like, I think that's, like, you have to give somebody power over you to be able to take from you in the first place. And if you don't have anything to take, it doesn't even make sense. You have to be cultivating your own something, and then you are giving love freely anyway because you're consistently generating energy. So for someone to take energy just doesn't make sense to me. Like, yeah, they can pull on a cord. Like, if you have a cord with them, they can pull on your cord, and you can feel someone pulling on that cord. But then you'll realize, oh, I'm feeling a pull from something, and that's actually attachment. So then you go back to, okay, what am I attached to? What can I clear up about attachment? So fear, attachment to money, attachment to love too, like people in relationships that maybe are getting cheated on, and they love their person so much, so they're out there and they're fighting with everyone that their person's like effing around with, and instead of like solving the inner problem, they're focused on like, nobody could talk to my man, like, type of thing, because they're so afraid because he hasn't cleared up his patterning and he's out there. And also, like, distorted masculine patterning is crazy. Let's talk about it. Okay. I don't know why for the masculines they get a lot more like lusty. Well, I don't know. I guess some girls do too. It's pleasure seeking, it's desire, it's like also like I feel like other men try to dominate other men. So, like, there's always somebody that's going to put them down. And as a man, they don't feel comfortable being vulnerable and talking about it and clearing up their stuff because there are societal expectations for men, how they need to lead, how they need to be in power. And the funny thing about men in power is that it's so, like, you see it all the time. Like, how about, like, all the producers in the industry taking advantage of clients? Like, I just heard yesterday about Nickelodeon and Amanda Bynes and things that happened to her. I watched The Price of Glee. So these men who are in power, they're experiencing, like, desire. So for some reason, they have that programming where they want to be disgusting to people below them, to, like, assert their dominance over them. And honestly, maybe somebody did that to them too. Especially, like, I've noticed with a lot of times attractive men, they will have been abused in their childhood, in their home, because there was a parent or somebody who felt intimidated and threatened by them. So they want to make sure that they stay in their place, and they put them down. They make them feel shit, and they never deal with this. And then they keep feeding their pattern, and the cycle continues. And we're continuing to relive these cycles of pleasure seeking, abuse of power, dominating other people, when all you need to do is take a look inward at what are your patterns, how can I heal them. It's self-control, it's self-discipline, it's doing the energy work, it's believing in spirit, having a conversation with God. And when you feel out of control, when you see things that you don't like, just know in your heart that the divine is working with every single structure, every single person, every single thing in exactly the way that the divine needs to, at exactly the time that needs to be worked with. You are not in control. You're not in control of other people's journeys. You're not in control of how the divine decides to work on this world, but you are in control of your own emotions, reactions to it. Like, it's here, it's bad, it's not good. You can stop the cycle. You're the one that can make the change. You decide to make the difference and say, who is the man behind the patterns? Who's the man behind, underneath all the wanting, all the desire, all the lust? And you get to know yourself from a pure place. I highly recommend the hermit phase if you haven't gone through it, because that's how I learned about myself a lot. And I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I didn't use my sexuality a lot for getting things that I wanted when I was younger, because I did. And after that, I had a lot of sexual healing to go through. And I went through my celibacy stage, and you really learn a lot about yourself. And, sexual energy, you can work with it without, like, being with a partner, or, like, sexual energy is creation energy. It's you in your creation mode. It's not just about sexuality. It's about so much more. So these are things we can heal. Somebody that's struggling from perfectionism and wanting to control also has a low self-worth. So they probably want everything to be perfect, because that's when they feel like they'll be worthy. And it's sad, because it won't. No matter how much you try, no matter how perfect everything is, you're still going to be, at the end of the day, sitting there with a little bit of a, I'm not good enough and I need to. That's why they're projecting out, because they're like, okay, what can I do to fix things? But it's like, it's in here you need to fix. It's in here. So I've done all this work on my own. I've done my past life regression on my own. I have also, when you're out in the world and you're experiencing things and you're looking at people and you're seeing, like, there's a lot of psychic energy. And if you're a psychic, then you need to be clearing your energy after every single day. At the end of the day, clear your energy. At the end of the day, clear your energy. Because if you don't, you'll start noticing that you're feeling more egoic. Because, like, okay, so I met a celebrity a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't, like, full eye contact was made too. Like, I don't know this person. I don't know if he has an ego or not, but I definitely felt more egoic for some reason, and I felt like I needed to clear it off, like, right away. But then I started thinking about celebrities and, like, how also it can be very isolating because, you know, they're just people too. They're just humans too. And they want, just like all of us do, connection. And then I'm thinking, like, the sad thing about these celebrities is, like, a lot of them, like when I was watching The Price of Glee, they get isolated and alone because nobody sees them as who they are as a person, as the man underneath the character they play, right? So then they start, like, they just become just what everyone else's tool to use, and it's sad. And it's a something that collectively needs healing big time. That's all I know. Any situation can be looked at from a place of compassion and understanding. Like, the narcissist thinks that they need to get their needs met, and they're doing it in the wrong way, but maybe they'll heal their pattern. Maybe all of us will heal our pattern, and then can you imagine, like, the world would be, like, more pure and beautiful, and we could just enjoy each other and live in a place where we're a lot less fearful, and we're happier, and we get to play more, and we're not expecting things from other one. We're not trying to compete with people or judge people. We just want to be living our journey alongside others, and just, like, giving them a little shoulder bump and being like, you're doing a great job, and just hyping each other up. I feel like we can aspire to attain a more peaceful world. It just starts with changing ourselves. And I learned a lot about my old patternings through my past life regression. So I don't know if you feel called to do that. Compassion and understanding is so important. But your intuition is ultimately going to be your guide. If you do not feel called to connect with someone and interact with somebody, listen to that. Your intuition is your divine guidance. And like I said, you're not meant to be saving the world. People have to heal their own patterns by going within. And yeah, you'll be able to recognize them, and that's a gift for you, so that you know exactly what you're getting into if you decide to connect with a certain person. And then it's like freedom of choice, discernment, all of that. If you choose to get back into a pattern, then you're going to relive out that pattern. You've already been in it before, and usually that's how it happens. But ultimately, it's up to you, and maybe you need to relive it to learn more from the lesson. But you can always just go back. For me, I like to do a life review. So, like, I'll just go think about, like, everything that's been going on through my life, situations that happen, what I've learned from it, and what I can do with the information that I've gathered. So I feel like I want to do 50% off for first one-on-one session with me. So if you're interested in life coaching, you can DM me. Email. Sorry, I'm doing email now. You can email me at cosmicfractaloflight@gmail.com, and we can get something on the books. Yeah, I think that's going to be all today. See you next time.